You can roam a little bit more in the lanes. That's how Immortals plays it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, Immortals is, I think, the team that started it.
Yeah.
And then some other team started copying it. But yeah, I'm just not very sold on it because I've never really seen it do well other than in Immortals.
So what about this dual core pick? We talked about this the other day when Secret did it, and it's not been a popular last probably 18 months, 2 years. And they started doing it. Newbie did it earlier on today very effectively in that last game, of course. And it was the same two heroes as well.
They took Tiny Razor in the Secret game, and this one they take the Omni Razor.
Yeah, and that's what Newbie took earlier.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's such a strong opening. Like Omni's counter in lane so far we've seen to be Razor. Like that's the hero that really crushes him, and so I think it makes a lot of sense to just kind of pair them both together because, like, you're gonna take the counter to the hero, like, and it's not even bad. Razor nowadays is like it's not a bad hero whatsoever. Opening, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a really strong opening, and plus, what it does is it gives you a drafting advantage, too, because later on, if you can't beat it, you have to just, like, ban it out.
Right, yeah. And also they have a last pick, so they're probably going to pick 2 supports and then pick that this super carry or super mid, whatever they want to opt for, that can actually, like, carry the game. Wait, Winter got through it until here. I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah.
This is looking like a scary draft for Kinguin, isn't it?
Yeah, very scary.
There's not a lot of catch, though. That's the upside. Yeah. If you know that this Omni is a core, then your 4 position has to be some kind of, like, guaranteed disable.
Yeah, Morph and Anti-Mage, these kind of heroes are very strong for Vega. They're probably going to 4th pick the carry. Pick another... Well, probably offlane. I don't think they've ever ran offlane in Bounty, right? But most European teams haven't.
I'm not sure.
Oh, well.
The upside, though, of this combo is, like, you can pick a mobile mid hero like Storm, but it'll still be really rough against Razor. Yeah, but it's not a fun matchup for Mirana to play.
No, not at all.
What was your offlane question?
The Bounty Hunter, did Vega ever run that? Offlane Bounty? No, right?
No, not really.
Yeah, I think only Chinese teams and Immortals actually have done it. And the new Mirana is actually a bit stronger than the old one because you have these 4 leap charges. So you can...
Is it 4?
No, 3. You have 3 leap charges. With like, what's the recharge time? 40 seconds, I believe.
That'd be so broken if she just had 4. It's like,
yeah,
it's a lot smaller, though.
Unlimited leaps.
It's a lot smaller, but as soon as you get charged and you leap away, you're most likely going to be out of it.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference to her in the sense that before you can either be very aggressive leap in, but then if you miss an arrow or your team gets, you're kind of done.
Yeah. Well,
or you can leap out, and that's the only thing you can do.
Right. What I like now is actually you just leap in aggressively, maybe force a TP or 2, and you leap out and you're like, haha, just kidding. Didn't actually want to do anything here.
Yeah.
So they go Slaughter, Winter. We have seen this combo a lot. Obviously, the Slaughter can amplify the target that's Winter cursed, and then he just gets demolished by his own team.
This is a great draft so far, Will.
It's a very strong draft.
Yeah, I really like Kinguin's. I think nowadays people, though, when you see like the counter-to-counters, like Rubik counters, Rubik's supposed to counter Omni, Wyvern is supposed to do well, and then you take Mirana to counter the Razor, Slaughter counters the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
And so now Vega, you need something a little bit more cohesive. Oftentimes, like Kinguin, if there wasn't a Rubik on the side, I think that's a Sand King pick. But because there's a Rubik is like probably the best support against SK.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for Vega because they don't really have anything right now. They have like no tower pressure. Their lanes are okay, but Kinguin's lanes are stronger as well. Their team fight is not nearly as good.
Yeah, it feels like
they're lacking a lot of things.
I think they're over countering.
Yeah, they literally just counter pick 1 by 1.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a Razor. Mirana.
Do you think they were caught out a little bit by the Omni Razor opening?
Yeah, but
not something that Kinguin have done here so far.
They might have been, but they should have been prepared for it also.
Yeah,
because it's a very meta opening right now. At least this tournament.
So the upside though is like you need mobile heroes against the Razor and Omni. You need to avoid fights.
Yeah. Morphine was a really good pick. And he's really good against Omni as well, of course.
Yeah. You need to avoid fights like crazy though.
Yeah. You can't team fight them.
If AM was better here, I would say that'd be a pretty sick AM game.
Yeah, but the only thing he's really afraid of is the Slaughter, because you can get killed really easily when you're amplified, especially early on. Yeah. And they will put a lot of pressure on you.
You have a lot of armor though, naturally.
Yeah, you do. It's not the worst thing for sure. And you can also like build into a Manta later on. Like, the Morph thing is a really strong hero too. He has like 30, 35 armor mid-late game.
Yeah.
So he's not really too afraid of the Slaughter.
So they ban They actually banned Ench, so they might think that that is going to ultimately be a core bounty, or like they're at least exploring the option.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Ench could also be offlane. There can be both, like both bounty and Ench can offlane or support.
And there's a decent chance, like, because these teams have played against each other so much,
that they have inside information.
Yeah. Because I talked to LSOsh for like a few minutes, and I was just like, how do you feel about the matchup? He's like, well, we play them a lot, so we have a pretty good understanding of them. Which, of course, also works in Vega's favor, though.
Yeah.
But it seems like Kinguin is a little bit more up to date on like how this tournament so far has played out.
I feel like they caught them a bit off guard with the draft. At least Vega doesn't seem to respond like too cohesively. They're like kind of just drafting what's good, you know. But the entire lineup they have actually is not like a super combo or anything like Team Kinguin has.
Yeah, I think Vega needs more pickoff, like short cooldown pickoff. Like Beastmaster or something.
But Beast is not actually banned, yeah. Beast would be a very good pick here.
But it's like a hard, the laning phase is going to be kind of rough for him because it's still open. Like Kinguin can just, if there's a Beast top, then they can just run the Razor up there and put a one-on-one matchup against the Mirana.
Yeah. And there's a lot of here, like a TA, for example, would be amazing then if they do that.
Yeah, because it's not easy for them to burst, and their lockdown is like...
But Beast would amplify what they need, the split push as well as the pick-off potential. And I don't really see a lot of other heroes that would do that. Because heroes like Void and stuff are way too greedy with this lineup. So they need a cheap offlaner that can split push and catch, and also provide some vision. Because as soon as they see the Slaughter, they know they're kind of safe.
Yeah, for me, Beastmaster stood out. Brew would have been really good too, but of course they banned it out themselves.
First ban already.
Using all the time here.
Tide. Okay. So I didn't actually think they'd take Tide because I think it's a bit slow.
And Razor hard counters him on the lane.
Yeah. Oh,
and this is the CTA that we spoke about, yeah. And Razor is I think it's the hardest counter actually to Tide hunt in the lane. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
He can't even touch the creeps.
And that's what we thought is if you don't pick a hero like Beast that can just like catch up by ganking, you take a hero like Tide, then they will move the Razor from mid and they'll just go top with him and say like, well, we'll get 3 winning matchups then anyways.
TA beats bottom, Razor beats Tide. What did they have offlane again?
It's a bit rock, paper, scissors.
It's Omni.
In places, this, isn't it?
Omni against Morphling is...
Rubik, Bounty. I think it's okay. Yeah. I think he'll be okay.
Omni will be okay for sure, especially if they don't try them bottom. Like Rubik, Morph do nothing to an Omni Knight. They need the bounty there to be even able to pressure him.
Okay, we're going to head over to our commentary team. We're waiting eagerly to bring you this particular quarterfinal. It's the final quarterfinal for today as we move on to the semis next up. But we still need an opponent for Newbie. Which one is it going to be? Who's going to take the early advantage, Vega or Kinguin? Let's find out as we head over to Toby1 and Melini.
A very good question, Paul. Who will be the one advancing through into the semi-final? I asked Ben.
So Kinguin did way better in the group stage. Vega were on the verge of elimination. Yep. But these two teams have faced off against each other a lot. So I would actually expect this game to be much closer than you would expect from one of the better teams versus one of the lower-seeded teams in this tournament.
It's interesting, too, because like there was a lot of questions around Kinguin coming out. The panel were talking about it. You come out of the 2-game series, the group stage. Is this really going to be the test when you have a full best-of-3 that you then have to play against Vega?
Well, they picked them, right?
Kinguin actually have what it takes to win a best-of-3, or was it just pure group stage?
From what I saw from the group stage, they played extremely well and had really good drafts. And I think that's not something that is going to vary much in between a BO1 and a BO3.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, we have Vega. Not super hot this tournament, but I really like the talent level of their players. I think they're slightly playing below what they're capable of. And these players have exceptional pedigree and one of the best from the CIS region.
Yeah, it really is a whole bunch of old schoolers together. I'm waiting to see how the draft's all going to unfold. The panel was also touching on the fact that Tidehunter probably not going to be fantastic against Razor. Like Omni Knight, TA, there seems like a lot of early enabling for Kinguin just to try and run over the top of Vega. Are Vega going to be ready to fight? Like, this is Morphling, Mirana, Tide. This seems to be a lot of, like, we take time before we're actually going to be warriors.
It is, and their lineup is also a little strange in that they have Tidehunter, who's a great team fighter. I mean, Rubik, with the benefit of Omni on the opposite side, is decent, but aside from that, their team fight's extremely weak. I actually thought they would all in for more split push and just completely avoid team fight, but the Tidehunter tells me that, okay, they actually want to fight them in the mid game. But look at Kinguin's lineup. That's not a lineup you really want to fight into. So much minus armor, so just a lot of team fight all around, and a lot of physical damage coming out early. You don't actually need that many items. Amplified damage is generally just going to be good enough to want people in the mid game. But if you don't fight them, they're going to take Roche.
Which basically means that, well, I just want to see more of these fights then. Like, get the slaughter levels, get your what's that? We call it amplification, corrosive haze.
Corrosive haze. Yeah.
And then with a meld from Nisha and probably the momentum you get from Nisha, this could be a very dangerous kind of world for the Vega supports to live in. Not to mention the core's God already being harassed pretty heavily out of the mid. And what does Slayer want to do against this? He reveals himself. Now, cops a little bit of damage. Now crush him up looking for an arrow, but all that's going to hit is the range creep. So Vega at least trying to poke the beast in the mid lane, but Nisha is still 6-3 against that 1-0 of the Mirana. But she's got a bit more of a creep wave to work with now. Courier snipe in mid. Yep, Slayer able to wrap around the back, so shut himself to attack and then takes care of the Dire Courier. This will relieve that pressure for Vega in mid.
The Bounty Hunter is the key here. He needs to be the one to disrupt the lanes because the lane matchups are very poor for Vega. You have the Razor versus Tidehunter in the top lane. Omni Knight's a very, very strong laner in the early game. Morphling is pretty weak. And then TA has an inherent advantage versus the Mirana in the middle lane. So all three lanes, if Bounty Hunter does nothing about it, is going to be very, very poor.
Slayer back into Invis, really being a nuisance for this mid lane.
Dang, it was super fast about eating that. Both of them.
Now the lanes which we haven't really touched on, being top lane as well as bot lane, but it's this Razor. We talked about how Razor would probably crap all over the Tidehunter, or at least Ty's not forced into the jungle. We don't have the same problems that we had in yesterday's game that we cast, but this is a fun lane at least for Partos on the off lane, working with the Wyvern, trying to keep that Morphling down.
I think Partos has had one of the best Omni Knights that I've seen in this tournament. He's like generally gets super involved. There's a fine line between too greedy Omni Knight and being able to team fight with your team, and I feel that most stray too far on the line of greed, and I think he's always on the map, trying to help out his team or disrupt the course.
So we don't see blink heals.
I mean, that's fine.
Actually, you like the blink at least.
I mean, it depends on the game, but generally I prefer the fighting ones over the Radiance. Depends on the game.
God's copying a lot of damage here in mid. He's still got a decent amount of tangos up his sleeve. Mikako is definitely doing a good job of making God burn through consumables.
Yeah, he's burned through 2 salves already, and the set of tangos, but luckily without the chicken on Kinguin's side, they can't keep up the pressure too much.
That's kind of where like Nisha hasn't actually applied any of the pressure. You expect like side blade damage to be a little bit higher, but most of his attacks, God's been keeping his distance. The advantage of running that range of Mirana. Okay, now he gets the line right for that one.
Yeah, the Mirana mostly picked, I would say, to not get destroyed by the Razor Link. You want cores that have super easy mobility.
This isn't happening. Not with a flying courier. If it happens, then something is seriously wrong. He's waiting behind the tier 2 tower.
I'm actually very surprised that they haven't been microing this courier. Like,
they should have fortification, right? Shield?
Yeah, they should. This is he's already done it once, is a thing. Second time,
not too good.
You just generally fly it over the trees, or just keep it at a tower for a little bit.
Battling for the bounty room, potential denial in from the creeps. Not going to happen. Partos holding on to that level 2 purification to get the kill on the Rubik, and that'll give him first blood. Can't believe it's taken us that long to actually get a 1-0.
The 2 courier kills are going to make the gold pretty Vega favored.
I was wondering why, like as I say first blood, it felt wrong, but it's because we've had 2 fluffy little couriers die.
Chickens count.
Chickens should count.
Ty's actually doing very well. This is almost a straight one-on-one, and he hasn't been jungling, so his CS numbers aren't inflated, and he's pretty close. Not able to get any denies off, but
that gives Vega the opportunity, right? You have the ability to fight with the Ravage because he's not forced to just farm in the jungle and be completely out-leveled. but do you push it when he hits his level 6? Like, can you rotate heroes to the top? Do you bring God off that mid lane?
Dude, he's actually really good at splashing. You can tell that he plays TA a lot.
I think Nish has been fantastic in that mid lane no matter what heroes he's played this tournament.
Yeah, but you can't be good at everything, can you?
Well,
he has
is a
been.
great hero. The hero depth.
Yeah, he has been pretty exceptional, I would say. So Morphling has a Ring of Hell, so he can kind of take some harass. Arctic Burn, not really going to do that much. He doesn't have that much HP. Yeah. You want to keep nice and low, I would say. So for last hitting purposes, and you have Ring of Health in case you take any sort of harass. It's not like they're going to burst you from 100 to 0. They have, unfortunately, no silence outside of Kinguin, so Morphling, pretty good pick in the situation. He shouldn't really be afraid of that much.
As Bounty is trying to roam around the back of mid. Not really finding the opportunity he's looking for. There's also a lot of leeching of experience going both ways. Like Bounty Hunter. Okay, that'll help when you get rid of the Observer. Both Bounty and Slaughter have taken a lot of experience out of these mid laners. We expect this though, right? Like when we're in this dual mid meta.
Yep. Again, the benefit of 2v2 mid with a TA though, you always get those ancient stacks off, and they do have a 3 stack.
This is, well, do you want to cancel the TP? No, you don't. He didn't have Ravage anyway. But it was the Shuriken toss potentially.
Yeah, it looked like G also didn't have enough mana to cast Arrow there.
Slight problems, but out to safety. Drag the attention away for a little bit. So this is the other upside too. So Templar Assassin 33-13 versus that mid Mirana, who's 27-3. But we're going to have to take into account too, the Templar Assassin is going to be ancient farming in a bit. Man, Aloha Dance. When you really underestimate the amount of damage like I was doing now, I didn't think we'd had much of a problem, but a double damage rune on the Rubik plus that waveform.
Oh, he also, Morton just did a ton of damage with the Omni Knight. Omni Knight's help.
Patos. Low on life, but gonna burn the Shrine. The Courier Hunt is on once again for the Bounty Hunter, but Courier is safely back at base.
Is it going to happen 3 times? It might happen 3 times.
If it happens 3 times, then Kinguin have... well, I'm not quite certain what side of the bed they woke up this morning.
If Bounty Hunter were a little bit more impatient, maybe. It's actually just going straight down there. It actually doesn't take that much micro to deal with the Bounty Hunter. Like, maybe 500 range to the left or the right is generally good enough.
Well, you still got the shield as well, like you got invulnerability. Like,
it's just really hard to have that microed. Like, you have to be... Oh, man. So that's just the second Observer Ward in the last minute and a half that's been taken down. So
yep. The one in the mid, now the one on the bottom.
Slayer's been playing very well.
Oh, Patos gonna purify up, and he's too far away from the Rubik. I think they're trying to contest for that 8-minute bounty rune. Another aggressive Observe Ward being planted. Vega ping it out very, very quickly, but are they really going to try and fight this one? It looks to be the case. Arctic Burn going to slow down the Rubik. Morphling going to move in as well. It's a nice little quick stun and the purification. Rubik gets evaporated. They'll dust up quickly. Slayer revealed for the moment. Aloha Dance, what can you really do here? He's waiting for the attack time with the cold embrace. Wyvern regenerating quickly. You'll have to waveform away. It's a long waveform back up the hill to safety. But Kinguin showing they've got the grit to fight.
Not letting this Bounty Hunter get away with everything.
Dive for the Omni Knight? No, for the Tide Hunter? That's not going to work.
Looks like he...
Did he reveal it for the Bounty Hunter to make a play? I guess this... Do we go once more? If he walks down the hill... No. This time they're moving the Courier north. They're not falling for it. Not a third time.
Nice one, Winter Wyvern. See, one of the supports heading back to base, he likely would have microed it in this situation. Yeah, so Tide Hunter is actually very, very large.
Oh, nice dust. Slayer revealed for the moment. Here comes the TPing in. Arctic burning Wyvern. And Slayer doesn't really have anywhere to run. The Pleasant Field gives the bonus damage. Mikako who gets the kill.
Ooh, a Treads buyer on the Razor. You don't see that too often.
You always prefer the phase boost for the static link?
Most people have the phase or the BOTs. For the moose speed. With the unstable current, you're already pretty fast, and just being able to move around the fights to keep that static link up is very, very important, and just to help you farm faster. The Treads is way more tanky. If you're the ones going in, I'm a little bit surprised to see him building a little bit tanky because he does have an Omni Knight on your team. We saw the Slork yesterday who went almost full glass cannon on his talents and his item build because he does have an Omni Knight coming out behind him. And generally, that's one of the benefits of having Omni Knight, right? You can go a little bit more aggro. But also the attack speed I really like on Razor. I don't like the plus damage on Razor. You don't actually need that much plus damage because you have a lot of plus damage from static link. So having treads to synergize better with the plus 224 is going to be way more flat out damage if you're just straight right clicking people.
Bounty Hunter is trying to keep a really close eye on this stack. It's already been farmed up, however. They do have a double stack of Ancients to the south. But this just... I don't know if he's hunting the Courier once again, but ever since Kinguin lost the Courier the first 2 times around, they've been very vigilant at making him fly random places. God, a lot of damage in mid, while on bottom lane, Partos battling with the Morph. Or if it is really the Morphling.
One of the better heroes to Morph. Getting the degen is really nice. GA, some Omnis don't skill up GA until like 8 or 9 anyways, so clearly not that important of an ultimate to have super early on.
He's back to his normal self now.
So Bounty Hunter's going to hit 6 pretty soon. They have the tome option available to him. Yeah, he's level 3 right now, but just needs 1 kill or to sit in the lane for maybe a minute and a half, and he should be level 6 soon. But Kinguin can rest easy in the meantime, knowing that any track kill won't be happening. So he just ate the tome. He's actually, you know, they just need 1 more kill and then they can start things happening. But it's pretty hard. They're pretty well fortified inside their base. They're not making any super aggressive maneuvers. They're just farming up stacks safely, playing close to key TP points. And
the second an engagement happens, as you said, like close to a key TP point, you're going to get cold embraced. You're going to have repel all purification. There's just so many things that are going to make it difficult to find these picks. So Bounty Hunter just what?
There's another chicken
sits
though.
At level 4. Courier snipe. Oh no. God, they've been so vigilant about this. So vigilant. And now it's going to happen once. Oh. We know better.
Nice.
That almost feels like they're being well played indeed.
That was actually just perfect timing too, to the point where he popped out of his...
Did you actually sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to make the Courier fly straight down the mid just to waste the time with the Bounty Hunter?
That works, especially when he expected to ground there.
might have called it if TA worked out how much experience she was getting from the camps. Potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
Be very good at math if you could do that.
And now that you saw him TP out, you don't have to worry about microing it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Big group up in the mid. 3-man smoke up at the same time as the Desolator is done. That's a level 7 Slander, so you've actually got the amplification available, and they're slipping into Roshan at the same time as Vega slipped down to the bottom lane. So they're looking for their opening. It's going to be Partos underneath the Observe Ward. Where's that TP on the way? It's not there just yet. Partos, he'll end up going down before any kind of reaction can come out.
They're okay with this, though, with the Roche. I think it's, I mean, it's not a great trade losing an Omni Knight, but because they do have to go all the way over there, it's fine. And it's a perfect time because the Bounty Hunter TP'd back, so you know he's not going to gather a lot of intel in that next 30, 45 seconds.
Yep.
Nice take here.
So Kinguin with the Aegis the Immortal. Oh, no. Courier up the hill. It's got dust on it, but the Courier's alive for the moment. He's waiting for it. He's waiting for it to come back again. Bottom lane's being nicely pressured out at the moment by the Morphling. Partos doing what he can to defend it, with Rubik moving over with the Stolen Purification. It's a lot of bonus damage into Partos that can be done. They pick him up, and there's that damage. He'll hit the mark.
Yeah, Rubik with Purification. Rubik against Omni Knight is just spectacular. Like, most of the team fight potential that Omni Knight has, you kind of have to play like a range hero anyways because you're going to die. So, I mean, having Rubik with his added spells and then the bonus of Purification or Repel, usually Purification I would prefer, is just ridiculously good.
I think no matter what he takes off the Omni Knight, he'll take it as a win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Can't steal that spell.
It's like stealing off the older Viper, not the current Viper. Like, hey, always got Viper Strike. Life is good.
Too bad stats aren't in the game anymore. You could just do a 0-0-4-0 build. He could never steal anything.
Oh, that feels so odd.
And he can keep it in an offensive null field all game, pretty much. The magic damage is what? Plasma field, splinter shards, and that's it. So, yeah, offensive null field all the way here.
Yep. They seem to find another way to battle the physical damage when that negative armor kicks in. Bounty Hunter's going to get picked off by Exotic Deer. It's like a top lane gank with the smoke. Middle lane is where things were starting to pressure up because Nishi wants to deny the Observe Ward. It only just got placed down, the TA trap. He hits the ward to start with the Purification self. Keeps himself alive. Rubik back behind the tower. Exotic did finish after they pick up on top. The tier 1 tower. Arrow flies forward. Won't connect on the mark. Fortification. Pushing Kinguin back for just a second, but Nisha with the Desolator. And the Aegis Immortal, he's happy just to keep pressuring this up. But the Omni-Knight sitting behind him, he doesn't care. He's got no mana left. Just continues to chip away at the tower and force movement in from Vega to defend.
Early Halberd. I like this a lot. Evasion is really, really strong. Almost even preferable to armor. You want one of those two, armor or evasion versus their lineup. Evasion is sometimes preferred versus TA, so you miss that, miss some of the big hits, the meld, but we'll see. The Halberd's gonna be really good too. Just the disarm. Yeah, they have repel, but
this mass entry battle in mid is kind of stupid in a way. They're trying to keep tabs on Slayer, who is currently leeching some experience on bottom. At least he has track available, and he's going to put it on to Karkor. Crush going to miss his target with the amplification up into the trees with the Starfall, and the damage is enough. It's the type of kills that Vega really needs to be able to get. Meanwhile, up on top, Aloha Dance on the run. Partos waiting the time. There's your waveform TP, but they have no stuns available. So a very simple escape for the Morphling. Well, maybe not so easy for the Rubik until he had stolen melt. Oh, defensive ability that doesn't allow TA to get anything. He couldn't line up for a side blade attack, but
you really want the traps. The traps are so good. They'll stay.
Meld saves his life here, and he actually managed to not only steal Refraction, while Refraction was in mid-air, he melded again. Quick on the fingers.
Yep. Ooh, S&Y Razor, my type of guy.
Oh, not another courier. He's got the Observer Ward up on the hill. There's your hit. This time it's a one-hitter. Slayer a real nuisance.
Had those really good deep Observer Wards too. They were able to kill Omni, what, twice on bottom and take down that tower with the Observer Wards that have been placed.
Yeah, they've definitely done a lot of work with fantastic vision.
However, the team fight is still suspect. Looking at the CS, we have just massive leaders on the side of Kinguin. I mean, I guess Morph is kind of close to the counterpart position 1, but TA is miles ahead of this Mirana.
Well, it's hilarious that like you're that far ahead. Yes, the Mirana's behind, but at the same time, you've only got a lead of 1,000 gold. There's a lot more money into the hands of the Omni-Knight, most definitely, but there's just something which is astray, and a lot of it is coming from, like, be it the courier snipes with the money flowing in from this. The kill count's definitely not it. We're 4-5 in favor of Kinguin. And the towers are level at 1 apiece. But this game, at least on the graphs, is very close. And the teams are going into a trade-off position. Kinguin are not giving the Tidehunter the fight he wants. They're not giving him the 5v fight just yet. As, well, don't go replay yet. We'll have a moment of potential fighting up on top lane. As, well, break the rocks. As here they come in on the top lane. The first initiation in from the Slaughter is going to fail. Templar Assassin, but she does have that Blink Dagger available.
He stole Winter's Curse.
He's got enough of it. No, he doesn't. Managing to swing the mallet in, or the trident in, of the Slaughter. God will end up falling.
I mean, this game being relatively passive, I think, favors both sides. Like, both teams are okay with it. Kinguin because they're not giving up trap kills, and Vega because they know they have worse team fight, so they don't really want to team fight them right now. What they really want is for Morph to just get really, really big and be able to blow up these weaker heroes. You want to threaten the Omni-Knight so he has to cast his spells on himself. You want to be able to instantly kill the Wizard Wyvern in the backline and kill the Slaughter early on in the fight. So they're just waiting to get to that point, and then Kinguin, they're just going to keep trying to snowball off Roches and using their massive team fight potential in the meantime. However, with the Rubik stealing Winter's Curse, they could potentially look for a fight in the next minute and a half. I don't actually think it'll be that useful, just because, I don't know, it's just really hard. You feel like you're forcing it too much. You have Winter's Curse, that's great, but
he doesn't have a repositioner as well. Like, there's no Blink Dagger, there's no Force Staff. Right now he's got Magic Wand and Arcane Boots. This isn't the most, like, this isn't a Yaps or Rubik. This guy's sitting at 2.4k net worth, almost on par with the Wyvern.
Ooh, he takes the, he takes an attack speed talent on the the more you usually see the attack speed.
Oh, trouble to Slayer. Melt! Okay, that's still at the end of the day is a very, very weak bounty hunter.
Yeah, not your ideal
Kinguin brought a
target.
lot of heroes there.
That is worth his life for the smoke, I would say. Ideally, you'd be in a position where you can just like TP out like up the cliff, but you know, you can't have it all.
And now Kinguin, at least with the bounty hunter down, they move out into the side lane, so get as much of the out of the map as possible when the bounty vision disappears. So it gives Nisha more time to farm up on the bottom lane. He's almost completed the entire Hurricane Pike.
Both teams are almost ready to fight, by the way.
No.
The blink came out on Tide. Signals fight.
Oh, they're going to try and fight mid. There's your blink, 3-man Ravage. Lana just sat there and watched it. He won't sit there much longer, and the curse! Oh, Rubik.
How did he get denied?
Yeah, how the hell did he get denied?
I'm not sure. I think I read something about a potential bug with the Windsor's Curse, but I mean, there's no way that there should have been a deny there.
Okay. Well, maybe we could watch it again in slow motion replay. Open up the combat log or something. That's a little awry. 1-for-1 trade-off. Even if it is going to be a denial on the Rubik. He can't do it himself. Maybe because he was holding Winter's Curse when he got Winter's Cursed. Is that the bug? Oh, okay, let's see it again.
Maybe.
It'd be great if we could slow this down when it happens. So the initiation comes in perfectly from the Morphling. They explode Partos, or from the Tidehunter, into the explosion. And now they create space. Yeah, question mark. Esport ready. God gonna get picked off from the bottom lane. Templar Assassin jump in for the damage with everybody else from Kinguin. So while Ravage is down, they just want to force it. And hey, why not? Another crush. This time it's going to be off the Tidehunter. Corrosive Haze able to be stolen by the Rubik, and then instantly Nisha will get rid of him. They're pushing so hard into the base of Vega. Remember that tier 3 tower is what they want. Rubik will buy back a quick Hurricane Pike. Morphling waveforms out, dodging the attacks from Nisha. Doesn't dodge the secondary ones, which flew in a little bit later, however. But they still want that tier 3 tower down. They haven't got it yet. The tracks are going to start to build up, but the repel taking them off. There's your jump forward. A double crush from Karkon. It does the work, but not enough. But yet, waveforms again retreating back. The curse will create space and allowing Kinguin to not only get through the tier 3 tower, they're beating him to that melee racks. Where is your defense? Without the Ravage, it doesn't look like it even exists. They keep the pressure up. Afterlife almost betting like he has it, but he's got nothing at the moment. When they push in deeper, Aloha's losing so much life. It's so much damage coming at them. Are they really getting ripped apart in their own base? They still at least have melee racks, but now that is gone as well. The pressure maintained by Kinguin. They turn to fight. The Tide Ravage is down for another 17 seconds. He's gone for 38 seconds. And without these heroes, Kinguin, they're now going to back up. They've done the damage. 22 minutes in, they force it by kicking down the door of Vega's home.
I mean, they lost, what, one hero to the last Ravage and then immediately stormed out. That is the opposite of a value Ravage right there. But, you know, you have to applaud Kinguin for, like, that takes a lot of gumption to just, okay, go down there. They don't have Ravage, we can take this Rax. Yep. They don't have Aegis. You know, a lot of teams would play it safe, maybe wait for the next road, take the Aegis. Like, okay, you know, you feel a lot more safe here. And they know that Vega's teamfight is just really, really weak. Morphling is going to be a threat later, but he doesn't even have EB yet. However, he will have it for this next fight.
I'm interested to see which part of the replay we look at. That kind of went on for about a minute with the attack. But this is, as you said, Kinguin just understanding their strength, understanding their timing.
Well, also, I think their lineup is just a lot more well-rounded. Like, they can do a lot more things. We talked about the Mirana, like, potentially countering the Razor, but it doesn't really matter. She just gets dumpstered by the TA. And she doesn't have enough teamfight presence at all because she can't deal with Repel. Like, how do you actually deal with Repel as a Mirana? You just can't. Your right-click's pretty poor. Even if you do go right-click, you generally go Maelstrom. I mean, look at the Mirana's items. She has Manta style, and that's pretty much it on her.
That's not a lot to work with. And the Maelstrom's not going to help out that much more either, but they're going to try and go for Roshan. Movement is coming. Kinguin is on the way. They will try and counter this attack. Slayer, very visible on the front lines. Missed it up. He's already down. Roshan, he's still alive and on low health. Vega, they put all their eggs in the basket. Right now we're having scrambled eggs. They stun up even Roshan with the arrow. So by the time they want to bring down the low hard dance, Kinguin keep moving forward. Strength, more won't save you. Slaughter, however, has died for Kinguin. Kinguin, so there's at least a little bit of a rebuttal, but how much do you really have? The TA and the Razor, way too strong. A triple kill for Exotic Deer, and while Roshan's this low, they can take that. And with Aegis the Immortal, and so many heroes down, they may just go straight down mid.
Just a very smooth game coming out from Kinguin, identifying every opportunity that they've been presented. The small window in between the two Ravages, where they have to wait for the Omni Knight to respawn and walk all the way to the bottom lane, and then now this, knowing that Vega, next Roach given to Kinguin is going to be game over. They try and sneak it themselves. I believe they had a Solar Crest to make things a little bit easier. Bounty Hunter did buy a Solar Crest, so they pretty much did what they could.
God. I don't know if what they're attempting to do with God here, because that Wyvern's dead, but he buys time. The mid lane still being attacked. The buyback is there from the Wyvern. And once again, Kinguin feeling the compression. This tide is back up in 4 seconds. This will be the difference at the fight. The fact that Kinguin are losing both of their supports. Maybe with this Winter Blast they can almost kill off God. The range attack is almost enough from Wyvern, but not just there. They're delaying them and distracting them. Ravage will pop in the mid lane while the pressure is still there from Kinguin, so both of the supports, Razor will fall down. And maybe they have the defense. Guardian Angel stolen by the Rubik. They'll try and pressure him forward. Rubik basically now forced into the Guardian Angel because of the TA aggression. But the attack is coming in. Vega, they got themselves a nice window. They've managed to get a couple of pickoffs in the back line. If they can catch Nisha, it'll be the icing on the cake. But that's a hard ask. Wyvern, however, a lot easier of ask.
That's a lot of track kills. And
that's 4 heroes, only 3 of which have buyback.
that was an interesting idea by the Winter Wyvern. What he wanted to do was split Vega up so that it would be, 4 of Kinguin's heroes inside their base, and then Vega would be fighting with 3 because the Mirana and the Bounty Hunter, or maybe the Mirana would just be back there, so he kind of thinks it's worth it, but at the same time, I just think they're straight up stronger as 5. Just cheese and toe, why not take a fight, but...
Just walk straight down mid and together you fight. But yeah, at that time, the synergy didn't really seem to be so perfect from Kinguin, but yeah, you can understand the logic.
Yeah, you can see what they were going for. However, splitting up versus Bounty Hunter is just generally not what we want to do. They ended up giving, I believe, 4 track kills there.
Yep. The gold swing, hilariously enough, was only about 3,000 in the gold. The experience swing, however, was a lot more, and goodbye Orchid. Slayer being a pain in the butt once more. Gets dusted up, the Blink Crush will be there, but delaying the Orchid is more than worth it for the Bounty Hunter, even with that death time.
Giving up the gem is not worth.
Okay, that's not so great. Aegis Immortal, Nisha. Well, again, this is one way to make it worthwhile. Aloha Dance gets a 650 gold. The unstoppable 6-time streak of Nisha comes to an end.
You have to respect the Morphling at this point in the game. Yeah, they had like a 10,000 gold lead in Aegis, but Morphling is still incredibly strong. He has had free farm for most of the game, and he has that E-Blade, which just makes life extremely difficult for Kinguin. So now TA has to consider building a BKB, and she doesn't really want to because she's Omni Knight, but at the same time getting shotgunned, getting ravaged, getting halberded, like all these things just really limit her potential in the team fights.
She's still got the BKB just got added to the quick buy, but she had full Bloodborne only there.
I mean, the greedy build almost paid off. Like, if they were just able to take down that mid-racks, they'd probably just be able to, skate by until the end of the game at that point. But now, Vega are definitely back in the game.
Yes. They just have to hold on, keep the bottom lane at bay.
Should be pretty easy. They have really good heroes for pushing out, a strong lane of creeps. Morphling is really big. Oh my goodness.
And already up to level 20, rapidly approaching the Mana style.
He also just has a ton of armor. He has 40 armor right now on the Morphling, and this is before Butterfly. So he's actually going to be extremely difficult to burst down.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like you're talking about, like the magical damage of Kinguin being a little bit lower than what you would really want it to be.
I think you just need
such high armor.
You just need the Bloodthorn or the Orchid, either or. But I mean, he has 2 ways to get out of it.
Another reason why that mantra is next on his to buy list. He's almost there. Ultimate Orb is it, and the Courier is actually bringing the recipe out to him now. Kinguin seemed to be slowing down the pace of the game. Back into farming up the Ancients, bringing Exotic Deer online. His armor is nowhere near as impressive, but having both BKB as well as Aghanim Scepter, Kinguin's push and teamfight is still very strong.
Yep. I don't know if they can respond quickly enough to the shotgun, though. That's the biggest problem. I think they might just instantly lose a hero at the start of the fight.
How do you respond to it? Like, is it just the repel of Omni-9? Is that it? Like,
Usually you'll have, like...
I mean, he's Lotus Orb.
Glimmer Capes are pretty good.
Okay. Well, that Wive is not going to get Glimmer Cape anytime soon.
Or even just a casual cloak. You just need to be able to survive it so that you can get purified up or repelled or cold embraced.
Well, this is a confident Tidehunter. Has a Refresher Orb in the quick buy. Vega, they smoke up. I believe they actually did it on top of the side trap.
He's killed, what, 3 couriers this game?
It's a lot. I think it's 4, actually.
4? Yeah, it's either 3 or 4. I mean, that's crazy how much gold that's gotten them.
Well, here comes your scan from the Radiant as well as the Dire. Only the Dire is going to ping positive. The Winter Wyvern is in the trees. The arrow will fly forward, hits the perfect mark. Not certain why he was left behind while the rest of his team already retreated back to their own jungle.
He just wanted to push that wave out. Just Splinter Shard and then maybe TP out. I mean, he popped the smoke, or he tanked the gank of the smoke, so it's actually not that bad. I just would like to see him maybe use some of his gold that he has, because he did go for the GPM talent, but he's still the poorest hero in the game by far.
Omni-9's picked up something we haven't seen a hell of a lot in this tournament. Goodbye, Bounty. The Aeon Disc is now in the hands of the Omni-9.
This is actually probably the best situation I've seen Aeon Disc picked up in all of the games that I've seen Aeon Disc picked up, which is like 4. Because their gameplay is to Ravage, kill him with shotgun. Yep. And there isn't that much that he can do about it alone. Maybe if the Wyvern were more farmed, you can like Glimmer and Cold Embrace, but that's really unlikely. And even then, I think the shotgun just does a tremendous amount of damage. So if they can't burst him down, I mean, because Ravage is not long enough to deal with the Aeon Disc. And then after that, he can just repel GA. There's no counterplay to repel GA here. You'd have to like immediately silence him after the Aeon Disc pops, which they just cannot do right now. They don't have long enough disables. So I actually think this is a good Aeon Disc pickup. As much as it
pains you to say.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you're not seeing the Chaos Meteor. Like, or the Meteor stuff, whatever the hell that bloody thing is called.
Meteor Hammer.
Meteor Hammer. That's it.
You don't even know the item. That's how little it's picked up.
I went full Warcraft with the way I pronounced that just then. The Chaos Meteor.
Isn't that Invoker's skill?
Yeah, but it, wasn't it the old Warlock?
I'm not going to help you out here. I'm just leaving you out in the dry, dude.
Infernals. Screw it, move on. Just hope the stream lagged at that point when I said that.
Okay,
right,
so did they see this Aeon Disc? I don't know. They might just like show the Omni. I was like, hey, ravage me, bro. I don't care. Yeah, he's actually just like not caring.
Full wraparound. The full, like, it's so far wraparound that they're actually going to miss that timing with Moonlight Shadow. Into the trees. It's the Razor on the back line.
They know.
Deer. And here, there's your first reveal. And into the instant BKB and the jump forward. Didn't get the crush off, however. That big pop from the Morphling. It goes into the Slanner. And now the steal of damage. It goes back and forward both ways. She's allowing Morphling. They stole 148 damage both ways. Allowing the Morphling to have a little bit more life. Now he goes for his quick pop. But the Wyvern, very tanky. Ravage will connect. Omni-9 protected by the Lotus Orb. Purification down as well. But the arrow, 5 seconds on him. He'll break free now. The Morphling has to wait for the way. Doesn't have enough life, but Nisha, the sun from the Rubik is creating enough space, but isn't enough space, really. Nisha misses his meld attack. It's the Ghost Scepter on the Rubik, allowing him to back up a little bit further forward, backwards with that purification. Gets a little bit more life, but it won't be enough. In they jump once more. Morphling looking for the target. The Tidehunter, they both have to four-staff disengage.
Woof, that cheese pop by Razor. Woof, and the Aeon Disc. Both were actually... Oh, the Aeon Disc. It actually did work.
I actually thought that was cheese on the Morphling, but it was just his magic wand. Considering he was in full agi.
Very nice play by Aloha, though.
Are they coming to contest this?
Too late. No shrine. No chance. But the way he played that to deal with the Razor's BKB was phenomenal. He pretty much wasted his entire BKB duration. If he didn't have that cheese, Vega would have crushed that fight.
Oh boy. Refresher shot now on the Razor. You could have a double ulti from him. There is no Tidehunter Ravage. But he doesn't have that refresher orb yet, so a 75-second window for Kinguin.
You could refresh the Aeon Disc, Toby.
Yep.
You could.
Is that... Are you actually now believing it in that much? Refreshing a double Guardian Angel.
I think he's
with
actually
the Aghanim Scepter, I'm okay with that, but he's still another like 2,000, 3,000 gold away from that.
I think he's that important in the fight to burst him down. Okay.
Oh, so low. 200 HP on the Slaughter. He was the attack target last time. Curse on the Tidehunter. Not really enough damage to kill him. Molbus creating space for the melee racks. We drop the BKB as well from the Razor. It's already been expended, but there's your refresher shot. BKB's back up again, plus that ultimate available. They're coming back in for the range racks. They've still lost the Slaughter, so no amplification going the way of Kinguin, and they will now back out of the base unless they see an opportunity to jump. Still no Tide Ravage available. It's another 20 seconds before it's off cooldown. And Kinguin are waiting. Where's the attack? Nisha, it feels like bait. They still never burned that second BKB of the Razor. He just doesn't have a lot of life to work with.
They need... Slaughter needs like a... I'm surprised he didn't go for like a Glimmer Cape himself. He has 1780 HP. It probably did like 1700 damage to shotgun combo alone. And then maybe he'll get the 3 waveform charges, and then he can shotgun people, waveform in, and then waveform back out if he needs that extra little burst of damage to kill.
I'm not certain if he had it before that fight, but he had a level 15 talent with plus 300 health, so it gave him a little bit more. And he'll have the 4 staff done soon, so that's the item of choice he's gone for. Oh boy. Scythe and Bloodthorn fully completed now for Kinguin.
Well, too bad he doesn't have the refresher shard anymore. Double Scythe is nice.
He actually burned it on the retreat. Like, he burned it ready to re-engage. So potentially they could have held it a little bit longer. But it looks like Kinguin just going to make a push through top lane.
Yeah, they still have a little bit of time left on the Aegis, so they should use it.
They have to fight into the Ravage this time, though. So this is their downside. Nice Tinker Ward up on the hill. Watching the tree movement of Kinguin at least. But there's your jump forward. Aloha dance with the Mel Strike. There's a lot of damage. And the Bloodthorn there for the Rabbit. Space will be created when the Templar Assassin gets locked out. Remember, she has the Aegis, the Immortal, and the Guardian Angel. There was no follow-up damage. Another crush on the outside of the base. They're looking for that pickoff over on the Rubik. The attack won't be enough. Again, the Ghost Scepter mid-flight on the attack. Meant that he could dodge it out, but here comes the Templar Assassin once more. They keep him slowed up. The Cold Embrace is over on Karkos. That initiation from the Mirana all ends up in naught. God will have to buy back to defend the base. As they keep the tracks up on Kinguin, no Tide Ravage, but also no GA.
That was a nice try to kill the Morphling with the surprise Hex. However, TA did not have the BKB in her inventory. That's a pretty tough call whether or not you want to keep your treads over your BKB, but she didn't have the BKB, so she blinked in, and then she got immediately disarmed or lifted, I'm not sure. She got disabled as soon as she was trying to burst the Silence Hexed Morphling. That would have been clutch if they could kill Aloha there. You only had, 1,500 HP at the point.
Coming in once again, there's your initiation onto the Morphling. Waveform will let him break free. The Aghanim Scepter has arrived now for the Omni Knight, but his ulti is still on cooldown for another 86 seconds.
I don't actually know if I like this, like the Scepter pickup. I like the Aeon Disc pickup more than the Scepter.
What world are you living in, Ben?
It's because if you're sitting in the back, you don't need Aeon Disc, and if you're in the front, you don't need Scepter. So it's kind of a weird
it's a contradiction.
It is.
Jump in once again. They really want to bring down that Morphling. Arrow fly ball. Creepwave will soak it up. The Curse is keeping the backline in play. So Mirana, again, having no real influence. The tier 3 talent will be brought down. Exotic Deer protected by that Lotus Orb. Just sits on the front line. Burns his BKB as well.
They should at least maybe wait for the GA or BKB. I mean, GA BKB is...
It's 1 minute until you got both.
Yeah, just might as well at this point, right? I mean, I guess you... Yeah, Aegis is down. Just wait for BKB Aegis. Their T4s are in shambles, too. There's one T4 left, and that thing is almost dead. So...
Well, they spent so much time trying to defend the top lane, you can't really bring anybody off the lane for Vega.
Nope. You need more Force Staffs, too, on Vega's side. They have to get... They actually have 0 Force Staffs. Oh, no. Tidehunter has one. Okay. So, Tidehunter is the only one that can Force Staff the Morphling out, who's actually kind of in danger of dying.
I love the way that Morphling buys his Skadi. He flies it to the Dire secret shop to purchase from there because he doesn't believe it's safe to send anything north.
Pretty reasonable when they're pushing top lane.
Yep. But that courier managed to thread between two of the Kinguin heroes.
Yep.
By flying a direct path.
Oof. I would like to see a nullifier come out so that the Morphling can't do anything. Bloodthorn plus nullifier, pretty good combo, although I do think they are slot challenged now. Templar is 6 slotted. Razor is going for AC as last.
Jumping forward, initiation onto the Morphling. Arafat is forward, Nisha's BKB will soak it, and the Ravage, very ineffective. Both the BKBs were already up. Morphling dropping so quickly, the waveform, he'll get out to safety, but the chain crushes continue to come in, so the Rubik will fall. The Eye of the Storm does the work, and they're going to reposition themselves with that curse down. The Morphling, has he got enough to survive the arrow? And Starfall, no, the Cold Embrace is giving enough life back up to the Slayer. The God once again feels like he's absolutely a non-factor of this game, and rightly so. GG. Exotic Deer has the triple kill and finally puts game 1 down, very shoved into the bag.
Amazing control by Kinguin. They just completely locked down that Morphling in between all the stuns, the silence, and then after the BKBs wore off, they hexed them, and then they Winter's cursed them until their next round was up. That was crazy from Kinguin. You know, the one small lapse in one of their fights where they kind of just lost 4 track kills. The Winter Wyvern, you know, he had good intentions. He meant well.
He did. He did.
And Vega actually, I think, played pretty well given the lineup. They actually executed that to, you know, kind of the best of what I expected from them. And Slayer played amazingly well. So much gold from the Couriers.
Considering what we probably thought of Vega coming into this, like you have top of the group versus bottom of the group. Vega have had a lot of issues in their group stage, just a lot of dyssynergy. This was